Welcome to MAC Bleu, the cutting-edge podcast for the nation's builders, merging the realms of construction with exciting advancements in technology. Join us on a thrilling journey where we delve into the dynamic world of blockchain, AI, the Metaverse, virtual and augmented reality, and their transformative impact on the industry. Our engaging discussions span a wide spectrum, covering not only construction, economic development, supply chain, and market segments, but also exploring the vibrant tapestry of diversity within the construction landscape. We shed light on the intersection of local politics and its profound influence on the construction sector, while championing the remarkable contributions of women and minorities in construction. For all things MAC Bleu, head to www.macandblue.com, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky. Now let's get into it. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of MAC Bleu. I'm your host, JJ Levinsky, president and co-founder of Blue Wave. I have a repeat offender today, Todd Hall. For those of you that don't remember Todd or didn't see our last episode, we focused on real estate back then. Todd was doing some crazy things, still is. And we were talking not too long ago, and today's episode is about Sisu Vita, which is a combination of two words. Sisu is Finnish. That basically is, we were trying to get a definition of it beforehand. It's kind of like extraordinary, uber, whatever. And then Vita, of course, is life in Spanish. So think of an extraordinary life. And we're going to let Todd barf all over us in a good way about how, and for those of you that don't know this about Todd, if I go at 800 miles an hour, he's at 800 miles an hour to the 10th power. So just hang on, put the seatbelt on, and we'll have a good conversation.
Nice.
All right, so Todd, first of all, Sisu Vita.
Yes.
Where's the incubation? How did it happen in your brain?
Ooh, man. I mean, so for me, it's been an evolution for several years. Not Sisu Vita necessarily, but the evolution started with just doing something that's more impactful. So I've been in the real estate business residential real estate for 25 years. Kind of got into the business kicking and screaming. I got a license, not necessarily thinking I was going to be in the sales side of the business. Thought I was going to be more of an investor.
Yeah.
And here I am 25 years later, right? So I started to evaluate my life, 2 or 3 years ago. I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm like, I have this whole chapter of my, my professional side of my life, this 25-year chapter that doesn't seem, it's not ending unless I end it. Meaning that look, I love the real estate business. I love working with clients. I love touring homes in Silverleaf with clients. I love touring remodels in Arcadia with clients, but it's not impactful. I'm dealing with one person.
It's transactional. It really is.
It's transactional. It's not that you don't make an impact, but it just wasn't what, when I evaluate my life, it's not what I set out for. It's not my purpose.
Right.
I just don't feel it. I don't feel that as my purpose. I don't feel like that's what defines me. So, so over the last few years, I've been kind of soul searching, and I always come to this point where I was like, well, how can I, I make a lot of money in real estate. How do I continue to maintain the same lifestyle? So I thought about politics as things got a little bit wilder in politics, and there's just different things that went through my mind. But so last year I decided I coached my kids. I coached both of my kids in soccer. I coached my daughter in basketball and t-ball, and I just and my son as well in soccer, and loved it. Now my daughter plays club soccer, so I can't coach her anymore. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to coach kids. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way to monetize it, and I'm going to do it professionally. I don't know how this is going to work. And so that's kind of how this started out last year. Was I'm gonna do something impactful. I'm gonna do something that makes a difference in people's lives and communities. But so that was how it started. And then I think The Secret kicked in. The movie The Secret, right? Yeah. The Secret kicked in, and all of a sudden, as I'm developing thoughts in my mind of what I want to do and how I want to do it, all these different things started to come to the surface, just kind of out of nowhere. Some of it on Facebook, right? It's the magic of Facebook. You do a Google search and Facebook feeds you different things. So one day I get this email about MindShifting. I'm like, that's really interesting because I'm trying to start. And at that point I was leaning towards mind and body coaching clinic. It was still geared towards kids a little bit, but the mindset was something that was important to me as well. And so I'm like, that's really interesting. I want to look into this. What I ended up realizing, long story short, was there's nothing else out there like it. I'll get into more of the nuts and bolts of it if you want later, but I just realized there's nothing else out there like it. People go to life coaches or counselors or, psychiatrists for years and years working on the same issue and never get anywhere. I'm like, there are people making breakthroughs in 15, 20 minutes on a mind shifting session. I'm like, I need to know more about this.
Okay.
So I jumped all the way in, and that was where Sisu Vita came from. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take somebody else's method, something that somebody way smarter than me built, or not built, but developed, as far as the technology of mind shifting. And I'm like, but I'm going to find a way to take it to the masses. I'm going to figure out a way to scale it to, as far as I can take it, right? So where I can scale it to millions and millions of people. And so that was where, just kind of answer as a long answer to a short question, but that was kind of how this all started to develop, was just that one Facebook post. I'm like, wow, this is powerful. The testimonials are amazing, like I've never seen before. And I'm like, you could impact a lot of people. So I was like, how do I scale it, take it to the masses?
So back to what you said, forgive me if I'm wrong on this. When you investigated that further, did you have to put yourself out there to actually kind of go through your own mind shift? Like, did you immerse yourself into this once you found out about it?
Yes, that is part of the process.
Okay.
So what I did was I bought the training so I could get in. So I really had it all, right? You know how Facebook works, $100, and you get kind of the little taste, and then you got to pay the full price for the whole thing. So yeah, no, that is part of the process, right? Is immersing yourself in it and actually doing the work with other people that are going through that same process. So yes, absolutely.
And then what as a result of that, then how did the synapses connect even further then? As far as, so you saw the platform, if I'm getting this correct, you saw the vision of how you could scale it and everything, but then you go through the immersion to like treat yourself as the guinea pig, because you got to find out about yourself before you can apply it to others, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that transformational, if you want to give it in like a chronological type thing, Todd, my question is, okay, what came out of that then, as far as like how did you start developing it further, I guess? I don't know if I'm phrasing the question properly.
No.
I'm just trying to get in your mind of, so the audience can relate, like, okay, he had this vision, he went and did this, and then how did the dots start connecting?
So to kind of circle back to part of your question, I didn't know the how I was going to scale it.
The how.
So the next step, so I didn't know how, I just knew I wanted to.
Got it.
Right? So the next step was the how. How am I going to scale this? Right? How do you scale this to the masses? And again, things just kind of kept falling in my lap, different technologies that I could use, different platforms as far as just running websites or building websites. I built the whole thing myself.
Oh.
From websites to video to photos taken, and like I built the whole thing myself. I wanted to do it because I had a vision. I was just I had a vision, but I was also continually creating that vision in my mind, and it's just very hard to transfer that to somebody else. So I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build it. So anyway, so the next step was the how. How am I going to scale it? And I just started building, man. I started developing the websites. I just started doing a lot more work on myself. When I go to the gym every morning, I sit in the sauna for 25 minutes. I listen to YouTube motivational videos in my head every single day. I've been doing that for years, right? So I just continue to work on myself and just more thoughts and more energy. I mean, I'm more energized right now than I've been. I can't even remember. And so just this energy started to flow through me around this. And I'm like, dude, I'm onto something really, really big. And when I say that, this might sound a little bit crazy, but I believe I cracked the code on this. Meaning that, when you go to, I've spent a lot of money and I've invested a lot of money in myself and education and all those seminars and stuff over the years. And seminars always start with the mindset, right? And you're like, oh, I think I can skip this first session. How many times have I heard mindset, training and coaching over and over? I mean, I still have old Tony Robbins books and cassettes and CDs.
The sets. You're dating us now.
And so, and they're in a closet, so I don't even know where they are. And so I'm not saying that stuff's not powerful and it doesn't work, but it only works for a small percentage of people, right? Because, well, for whatever reason, I don't want to get into all of that. But when I saw this, I'm like, you know what? This is a code cracker. This is something where you could literally get 100% success rate with it. Now, of course, people have to call in and make the calls. And again, I could talk about the platform a little bit more. I mean, they still have to plug in. You don't just sit at home and all of a sudden it just comes to you, but it's really simple stuff, man. And it's It's like having, just as a comparison, and again, it's not, it's like having a live expert to guide you through a mind-shifting session to clear whatever it is that you need to clear at your fingertips with 24/7 access. It's at a dirt cheap price that anybody can afford. I call it the gym membership for your mind.
Got it.
Is essentially what it is.
So let me interject for a quick.
Yeah.
Mind shifting.
Yeah.
There's that, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. The people you're trying to help or connect with, it's them wanting to do it, not someone imposing that will on someone else.
Correct.
Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my target market, the way that I built it is I built it for productivity. So in other words, my target market, my target audience, the way that I built Sisu Vita is I built it with entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate agents, loan officers, network marketers, salespeople in mind. It's
because of your background, get it?
Yeah. But it's based on productivity. Then what I did is I said, okay, this is my target market because I knew that these people needed what I have. Everybody needs what I have, but these people not only need it, but it's essential for their success and their productivity. So I defined that target market. Then I said, I'm building this for productivity. So then what I did is I built out a roadmap to take somebody through. There's 6 different mind shifting sessions or mind shifting methods. And I'll tell you what they are here in a second. But I built a roadmap to take somebody from A to Z to say, you know what, we're going, if you want to completely clear all the nonsense in your head, here's how we're going to go about it. And the end goal will be goal achievement and actually achieving those goals that maybe you weren't able to achieve before, or maybe right now it's such a big goal in your head that it just seems elusive or unachievable. We're going to get you there, and we're going to do it through mind shifting.
Okay, so let me go back even further then.
Yeah.
So as I was listening, going, okay, someone that comes to you, is it typically, and I know you don't have.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
This 5 years of experience, you're just doing this as like a bunch of beta testing in your brain and with friends and colleagues.
Yeah.
Is it typically trauma driven? And you know what I mean by trauma, because a lot of people think trauma is an accident. No, trauma is weird things we have in our subconscious and all that kind of, which I know you understand.
Yeah.
Is it trauma driven or just an insatiable desire to get over a hump, or all the above? Or I guess what I'm trying to do is define how you think people are going to want to do mind shifting based on what, Todd?
All of the above.
Okay.
So there's 6 different methods to mind shifting.
Go ahead.
Number one,
do it.
Number 1, problem shifting. Problem shifting is your basic day-to-day problems, the things that keep reoccurring in your mind over and over, whether it's low energy in the morning, whether it's lack of focus, procrastination. It's those little argument with your wife.
So the definition of insanity, where everyone does the same shit and expects different results.
It's those things that are just constants in your life.
Yeah.
Those problems that just keep reoccurring and you can't get rid of them.
Okay.
That's problem shifting. Now, if one of those issues is more deep rooted, if one of those problems is more deep rooted in your subconscious, which most of them are, by the way, then and you're having a hard time using problem shifting, which is a very basic method. It's the most common. It's the most commonly used method. Very simple method. It'll clear most issues. By the way, permanently for a lot of people,
really,
in as little as 15 to 20 minutes. So problem shifting is powerful. There are some problems that somebody might not be able to shift out of. And so then we might go to a blockage shifting.
Is that 2?
Blockage shifting would be, number 2, sure. Yeah. Yes, on the roadmap, it would be number 2. Problem shifting would be number 1. Blockage shifting would be number 2. Blockage shifting is not used very commonly, but it would be used in that situation where somebody has just a problem that's more. So let's say you've been procrastinating since you were 5 years old and you just have no idea why, and you just continue to procrastinate after doing problems. We're going into blockage shifting. Okay. So that's number 2. Number 3, number 3 is identity shifting. So identity shifting would be for somebody, look, we were all born pretty much the same. I mean, I get it. We're born in different places and different, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're all a shell, right? We're born with powerful identities.
Yeah.
The challenge is somewhere along the line, most people have lost that power. And so they have to get it back. So identity shifting is really for people that just, for whatever reason, they just lack that powerful identity. Maybe you're shy, but you're like, hey, but I want to be a salesperson because there's more money in sales or whatever that might be. Or maybe you're already a salesperson and you're shy. You're like, we got to find that powerful identity again. And we got to take that shyness and we got to turn it into, that more outgoing version of yourself.
Okay.
So number 3 is identity shifting. Does everybody need it? No, not necessarily, but it's a powerful method. And it can also be interchanged with problem shifting depending on what the problem is. Number 4 is belief shifting. So limiting beliefs. Anybody that just, and again, also can be interchanged with problem shifting sometimes if the problem is a limiting belief. So belief shifting, dissolving and clearing limiting beliefs. Number 5 is on the roadmap is trauma shifting. Okay. So trauma shifting is what you said earlier, man. Just a life event that completely, just a tragic event that has completely altered somebody's life and they just have never been able to shake it, whether it's a death in the family, abuse, you name it, car accident, whatever it might be, right? It works for anything. Now, in order to do trauma shifting, you do have to actually be honest. You have to be able to see, the thing is, JJ, we're dealing with the subconscious now. Mm-hmm. So I probably need to circle back and talk about that for a second, but we're not dealing with surface stuff. We're not putting positive Band-Aids over deep-rooted subconscious beliefs, thoughts, and actions. We're actually getting into the subconscious. So if you do a mind shifting session, you're actually resolving your own problem. I'm not walking you through it. I'm just taking you through the process. The work is all done in your head. You're bringing it to the surface and you're solving it on your own. That's the beauty of it. So number 5 is trauma shifting. Some of this also works for addictions, by the way. And then number 6 would be reality shifting. So this is my favorite kind of, because it's how I built the program. Reality shifting is goal-based. So why, since we're focused on productivity and reaching goals, why is that number 6 on the list, on the roadmap? Because we want to get rid of all that other stuff first, all the stuff running in people's minds, right? All the garbage. Let's get the garbage out. Now we have this whole clearing to really get into our goals and achieve goals that we just couldn't achieve before. Or again, maybe it's just that goal that in your mind is so big that you're like, yeah, it's kind of a goal. It's more of a wish than a goal. I think I can do it. It's like, no, we're going to crush it. And so that's reality shifting.
That was a lot.
I know. I talk fast, man. I have a lot to say. All right. How many hours do you have?
What, have you tried this on anyone yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So without mentioning names, can you give some examples of the 6 that you've just, I think the audience would love to have the context and the connectivity of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So if you can just walk through any of them, I don't care if it's, and it doesn't have to go in sequential order, just as you were going, and I didn't want to cut you off because you were on a passionate run there.
Yeah.
I was like, Todd, share with the audience, like, give me some nuggets. Okay.
Yeah. So the most common is problem shifting. So I've spent more time with people so far on problem personally.
Okay.
Now, by the way, this isn't me doing it. So if you pick up the phone and call somebody for problem shifting, you're going to reach one of my trained experts. It's not going to be me.
Understood.
Just so you know, I'm the business behind it. And when I say business, I want people to understand I'm building this for people. I'm building it to make an impact. I could charge a lot more for it. It's a gym membership for the mind. It's literally the cost of a gym membership.
I love it.
Right?
Gym membership for the mind.
For your mind, yeah. And so, look, I could charge a lot more for it. I want to take it to the masses. So you're not going to call and talk to me doing this. Now, you asked me earlier, when you went through the process, were you in the process? Like, were you doing it? Not only was I doing it, and I was with other people training in the mind shifting method where we were doing it with each other.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And so there's several that come to mind, but just kind of one that comes to mind is, and this comes up a lot with people, is procrastination.
Okay.
Right. And so, we just started with a problem shifting method, and it took about 18 minutes or so, somewhere in an 18 to 20 minute range. And through that process at the end, the question is, the question at the end is, do you feel like the problem is going to come back? And they said no. Then there's more follow-up questions to that and some integration questions. But a couple of weeks later, I talked to that person, and they were like, dude, I'm more productive than I've ever been.
Wow.
Which was awesome for me with that particular person, because again, productivity and things like procrastination is exactly how I built my business model. Now, when I was going through this process, I didn't have the whole business model and the roadmaps built out yet. But again, that was part of that process of going, you know what, there's something here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any other ones to share other than the procrastination?
I haven't done anything as far as traumas or addictions.
They come, it seems like they almost come, I wouldn't say a byproduct. It's almost like, because I'll speak to this one because I've gone through it myself, not to steal your thunder. I'm sure it wasn't as robust as this, but in a different context. It was almost like these other ones that were more tangible to get through. And then you got to the trauma piece, which was kind of where my conscious finally caught up to my subconscious going, hey, dumbass, now you know why you had all these other issues. It really came back to that one. Like that was the linchpin that held it all together. Not saying that that is for everyone, but I can speak personally. That's how I saw myself. So,
yeah.
But keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to think of another.
The belief shifting, if I can use the current state of the world, it's like the polarization of our voting process of, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, and I hate you, instead of having civil conversations, right?
Yeah. Well, belief shifting is really everything is for inner self, right? So we're only dealing with things that we can control. Like if you're like, hey, you know what, I want to do a problem shifting session because my husband's a dick. It's like, well, let's determine why your husband's a dick first, because we need to work on ourselves, not like exterior.
Yeah, right.
Like we can't fix the world. We got to fix ourselves inside the world. And so, I'm trying to think of an application for that. But so you would basically take that and say, okay, how do I fit into that? What's my involvement? Is there something I need to work on? And then you would do that. Belief shifting is really more, again, for limiting beliefs. So if I believe something about myself, and it may not be conscious, it may be completely subconscious. I might believe that I'm shy, but I'm really inside, I really have an extroverted side. I just lost it somewhere along the way.
Okay, that's a better explanation. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll give you an example. This happened to me in college. I had this project. I was a procrastinator, man. I was the worst.
Come on.
I was a procrastinator. Like, I loved doing homework the night before. I would do entire projects the night before, right? I'm like, hey, if I get a B, I'm good. I was a straight B student. And so, but I did this in college one time. I was in this leadership class. There's only like 13, 14 of us in this leadership class. And so there was this project we were supposed to do. I don't remember what the project was, but we were basically supposed to do the project. We were supposed to do it in front of the class. So it was in a group setting, like a public speaking type thing, even though it was a small group. And we had to do it on video. Believe it or not, back in the 1993, 94, we had video. For those of you kids watching, yes, we did have it.
We're that old.
Barely,
yeah,
barely, but we did have it. So anyway, so I tried to procrastinate it, tried to do it the night before. I stood in front of sat in front of a microphone just like this, looked at my classmates, and I was so unprepared, man. And I just froze. I completely froze. There's a camera in front of me. There's classmates. So that day, I created 2 limiting beliefs, completely subconscious. Although I knew they were there, but it all came back to this, and it took me years to remember, to correlate it. But anyway, one was fear of video cameras. So I would go to weddings, and people would put a video camera from me and say, hey, say something to the bride and groom. I'm like, dude, get the video camera away from me.
Wow.
couldn't do it. I froze. I would freeze. The second one was fear of public speaking, which a mentor of mine back in about 2000, 2001 broke me of that. He's like, you're getting up. I'll get you prepared. You're getting up. You're doing this presentation in front of these people. And once I did it and I killed it because he got me prepared, then I got re-energized and re-empowered.
Interesting.
But most people won't do that, right? Like most people will go their entire life with that limiting belief and not completely remember back to what it was. So that's what that's really what belief shifting is designed for.
Got it. That makes sense. Let's see. Talk a little bit more about number 6 with the goal-based.
Yeah.
Can you give an example of the goal-based shifting?
Reality shifting is a method that in theory could be used on a day-to-day basis. So reality shifting is exactly that. It's designed to help you achieve goals, no matter how big or how small.
Okay.
So an entrepreneur or somebody that's building a business like myself right now could use it every morning if you wanted to just use it for daily goals. My recommendation is to use it once a week. Do it on Mondays. If you want to use it more frequently, you can. You have 24/7 access to reach a live trained expert. But my recommendation is to do it weekly. So if every week you're like, here's my weekly goals, and you go through that reality shifting session, it's designed to help you to make sure that you do hit those weekly goals. Then we know that we're going to hit our monthly goals. And if we hit our monthly goals, we know we're going to hit our annual goals. So I can't, it's hard for me to go deep into the method because I would just go down a big rabbit hole and it would confuse everybody if I started to tell you. But it's again, they're pretty simple methods. They're complex enough to get into the subconscious. They're complex enough to do what they're designed to do, but they're actually really easy to do. And the more people do them, by the way, the more you get into sessions, the easier it becomes. At first, it might take you a little bit longer, but the more you do, all of a sudden, you're clearing things like 5-10 minutes versus 20 minutes or 25 minutes sometimes.
Interesting.
So yeah, but that's reality shifting. And again, I built the whole platform around it. That's the end. That's the last one on the roadmap.
Got it.
Because that's what with my target audience, that's what we're trying to do. Now, when I speak about target audiences, I want people to understand this could be used for anybody. This could be used for depression, for somebody that has contemplated suicide. In fact, I would encourage people, if you know somebody in a situation like that, to reach out to me. I'm looking forward to my very first testimonial, my very first case, where somebody comes up to me and says, you know what, this saved my life, because that's the power of it. I built it around productivity, but this is built for everybody. The reason I built it for entrepreneurs versus the average kind of, employee type of person is because I know that entrepreneurs are... It's hard to get somebody to understand they need something. It's like you don't know what you don't know. Those people are hard to get involved. And so I built a whole different platform for that, by the way. But yeah, so that's why I built it for the people I built it for. But literally anybody could be a client of Sisu Vita.
Okay. Go back to the idea behind the gym membership, the analogy of the gym membership. Explain to the audience why you want to do it that way.
Yeah. Affordability.
Right.
Affordability and access.
Yeah,
affordability and access. I want everybody to be able to access it affordably. I want everybody to be a client. There's no reason not to be. I want to take all the excuses out of it. And so the gym membership for your mind is unlimited access. So just so people can kind of understand what that means. Sisu Vita market value of it is $100 a month or $1,000 annually. However, and again, it's hard to talk about pricing on a podcast like this because, pricing isn't always evergreen. Although I think in this case, I would like for it to be, because the money part of it will come. I don't help enough people get what they want. You'll get what you want. The money part of it will take care of itself. I don't plan to ever raise the price. But I also don't plan to charge that. So the way I built it, JJ, was I will give you an instant and this is completely honor-based, I'm going to give you a instant 50% discount code. At checkout, you're going to get a discount code for 50%, and all you have to do is commit to giving me a testimonial, video or written. You have to tag me, add Cisa Vita to it. So there's a few things there. Yeah. You give me a testimonial. Now I'm hoping that people will continue to give me testimonial. You have breakthrough testimonial. But you're committing to one testimonial, video or written. And that's a lifetime 50% discount, $50 a month or $500 annually. It's $50 a month is a gym membership. Right. For most gyms, average gym membership cost. And so I just think it's more powerful than a gym membership. And the reason I think that is because most people give up on their gym memberships because their mind's not right. They have limiting beliefs. They have problems. It's true. Their mind's not right. If you think about the world, everything revolves around your mind. Like your entire experience of the world comes from your mind. So think about it like this. People spend a lot of money to live in gated communities.
Okay.
They lock the door to their house. They lock the door to their car. They they do everything they can to protect all their personal belongings. Yet we let all this garbage into our minds. And not only do we let it in, it's like letting thieves into your mind, letting them rob you blind, and then letting them live there rent-free for eternity. We don't guard our minds. We guard everything. Our mind is
the only sacred.
It determines. Yeah. It determines our entire existence. It determines everything. It determines our entire experience of the world. Yet we leave it completely unguarded. So that's so again, gym membership for your mind is really like, hey, do this first, then get your gym membership, because if you want to hit your goals in the gym, Cisa Vita is going to help you do it. If you want to hit your goals at work or your business, Cisa Vita is going to help you do it. If you want to hit your spiritual goals, Cisa Vita will help you do it. If you want to hit your personal goals and your relationship goals, it all comes back to your mindset.
Got it.
There comes a time when dreams become a reality, when you see your vision materialize into a true work of art. And the only way to get there is to choose a general contractor who shares that same vision and knows how to bring it to life. At Blue Wave, we aren't so big that we've forgotten where we've come from, and we aren't so small that we can't care for your projects regardless of their size. When your vision deserves safety, perfection, timeliness, and expertise in order to become a reality, trust Blue Wave to get it done right the first time.
Go back to, I loved how you said earlier, and you weren't rude about it, but I think people want to know what it looks like a little bit behind the scenes. Uh-huh. When you said you're the business behind this, it's not going to be Todd on a one-on-one basis, but what does that support what does the technology platform and the support look behind the scenes?
Yeah.
So that if I want, back to this, well, geez, Todd, fine, I'll just sign up for 6 months and I'll tell you to fly a kite.
Yeah.
Thinking about how everyone does it, they just want to squeeze the turnip, get out what they want, and then leave.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of setting you up for the layup here. It's like, but what does that look like from your perspective of the guy that developed it and wants to maintain it behind the scenes?
Yeah. So great question. So I'll tell you the funnel real quick, and then I'll tell you how the back end of it looks.
Sure.
Funnel is very simple. It's a website that goes to a payment link. The payment link goes to, an email drip campaign. By the way, the emails that I've developed they're not worth $50 a month, but they're powerful, right? They're really designed to get you to think and how you can use the system once you're in, and just continues to make you think about, hey, here's another way I can use it. Here's another way I can use it. So I'm constantly hitting you with that. So once you sign up, you get access to a membership site.
Okay.
Inside of the membership site, there's several things. The first is, in terms of what's important, all 6 mind-shifting methods. Well, the first is there's a video on mind shifting. What is it? How does it work? I recommend everybody watches that video so you actually really understand the method. Because if you understand the methods behind it, you go into it with an open mind, and you really, it just opens your mind to transformation versus going in kind of, sometimes people go in a little skeptical or unfocused. And I always say,
So hold on. You're saying that's optional, or that is a prerequisite?
no, it's not a prerequisite. It's just in the back office.
Okay.
I highly recommend it.
Got it.
And in the very first, my trained experts the very first thing they'll say is, hey, did you watch the video? Have you watched the video? Hey, before you do the next one, do me a favor, go in and watch that.
Okay, answer
so we remind them it's not required.
Okay.
But it's important because, and I always tell people, hey, if you're a little skeptical or unfocused, guess what the first problem is we're going to work on? Your skepticism. Like you're probably not the only area of your life it shows up in. But anyway, then what it does is there's a video for all 6 mind-shifting sessions. So I want you to watch so if you're going to jump into a problem-shifting session for the first time ever, not every time, just for the first time, I want you to watch the video on mind-shifting, short video, and the video on problem-shifting before you jump into the session. So you actually understand what to expect. How is it going to work? So you go into it and you're just already kind of preconditioned and pre-ready. So there's videos for all 6. Then under each video, there is a link for you to click a button and your phone rings.
And who's that then?
It's one of my trained experts. And we jump right into it. So there's a link. So that's how you do it. So you have to, once you're in the back office, you have your membership, you click a link and we call you within 30 seconds. Okay. Now, so there's that. Then what I do is so say somebody's having a little bit of a challenge. I'll do a weekly Q&A, okay, where they can jump on with me or somebody else. A lot of times it'll be me, but it could be somebody else. We'll do a Q&A, right? Hey, Todd, I've been in problem shifting. I'm having a challenge. Here's my challenge. Okay, here's what I recommend. Here's what we do. Right? So that there's the support, right? So if somebody's actually having a challenge, I don't want them to bounce. There's no reason to bounce. You will have 100% success rate if you do it. But there are times that somebody might have a challenge. So we want to have that support there. So the support's there. I also do a Monday morning, what I call focus and flow training, which is really designed to motivate, but also hold people accountable. So it'll be kind of a little bit of a 30-minute motivational call and be like, hey guys, let's brainstorm. Let's talk about how this is working and what. It's not so conversational. I'm not answering questions on that one.
Got
Q&As for that. It's more me inspiring, motivating, and holding accountable with an inspiring message. So that's Monday, focus and flow. And then I'm going to have a library of just motivational videos that I'll have back there, which can also be accessed on YouTube.
So again, I know you're techie by trade and the way you've scaled businesses before. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you the content that comes out of the Q&A. Mm-hmm. So if I take my AI mind or my actuarial mind and I apply that, and you pull nuggets, like let's just role play here.
Yeah.
Let's say that on that Q&A, I'm asking you something, and you guys, meaning Sisu Vita, you're in the background going, oh, that's in the repository of, solutions for other people. So that the next, because again, math says that if one person's dealing with it, there's another 10,000 dealing with the same issue. You see where I'm going with this? You're building that constantly.
Yeah, it's a good point. And maybe what we could build onto that is just a list inside of that of most frequently asked questions.
Oh, there you go.
And so maybe when, we could build something like that where instead of having to jump on the call, it's kind of nice to be able to jump on the call and talk to somebody.
Oh, I'm not discounting that.
But instead of doing that, but you're right. Instead of doing that, it's a good point. Just having a list of the most frequently asked questions. The thing about that though, JJ, is that it's so personalized. Like people's challenges and personal things going on in their head is so personalized. So that works for generic stuff. It doesn't necessarily work for somebody's individual situation. So I want to be able to talk to somebody that's having a challenge with what we're doing and talk them through that so they don't end up being a past client or member. They keep their membership because we can work them through it. They just need, sometimes they just need that because we're not going to do that on the calls.
Understood.
We're not going to do, I can't do that on the calls.
Yeah.
Right. The calls are designed to go through the method, not to do a long Q&A.
Got it.
It's just, I can't.
We understand.
It's not scalable. It's not scalable and it's not sustainable.
Stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah.
How about, okay, so I'm trying to think of tougher questions to, help propagate this for you.
Yeah.
Is, okay, Todd, these trained experts, are they business backgrounded, mental health, psychologists, coaching, all the above? Like, how do I know that you've matched the right personalities to again, we're not doing the one-off, but to take them through the process?
They're trained specifically in one method and one method only. So if you call the problem shifting line, you're going to get somebody that's trained specifically in problem shifting. They're not the jack of all trades.
You answered my question.
My problem shifting guy is not going to be my trauma shifting girl. Two completely different people trained completely differently.
Got it.
Yeah.
Figured I'd ask a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ay. I'm kind of at a fork in the road. All right, what am I missing about it? What questions am I missing to ask you about the platform?
As far as the platform, it's pretty straightforward. I'm going to reiterate something I said earlier, and it sounds crazy, and people are going to watch this and they're like, "This guy's nuts." So I would say sign up and find out for yourself. But
Todd's pure entertainment value, everyone.
but look, I believe we have completely cracked the code on this.
What was the code to crack?
The code to crack, everything is clunky, right? So I love Anthony Robbins. I love, there's a lot of amazing motivational speakers out there. I'm also part of a network of some big time motivational speakers. You've ever heard of E.T., Eric Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm part of a network of speakers around that are involved with Eric Thomas. And so, or E.T., as most people know him. And so the challenge with just a motivational speech is it's a temporary dopamine rush, right? I can go in and I can charge $15,000 for a keynote speech and leave people energized and motivated. I can't leave them disciplined. Does that make sense?
Well stated.
Look, I don't need motivated people. I need disciplined people. Motivation is a temporary feeling. Discipline is a yes or no, it's a yes or no response. You either have it or you don't. Motivation, everybody can get motivation temporarily. Some people get motivated for an hour, some people for a day, some for a week. So motivational speeches don't necessarily work on their own. Right? I love motivational speeches. So I built out another platform, by the way, that I'll just touch on really quickly if we have a chance. But
we do.
But which involves keynote speeches.
Right.
But so books, tapes, or digital audio, digital.
Yeah.
What else is out there? Online courses for motivation. It's clunky, man. Coaching, life coaching, people spend thousands of dollars for somebody to coach them just to get their mind right. And what happens when the coach goes away? And then the coach leaves them with all this stuff. Okay, in the morning, you're going to do positive affirmations. Well, I like positive affirmations, but what happens when I put a positive affirmation over a deep-rooted subconscious limiting belief? It's a Band-Aid. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. It's not long-term. So all of these other things, or life coaching or NLP, they're clunky. They don't produce a long-term result for the masses. They produce a result for a small amount of people. And a lot of that small percentage of people that are impacted are already successful. The other people, so there are people that will study Anthony Robbins that are already doing very well in life. And they're the ones that are most likely to succeed from his stuff, not the people that aren't doing really well because they're not as focused and they're not as disciplined. What we're doing works for everybody as long as they'll pick up the phone and make the freaking phone call.
Right.
That's all they got to do. And then let somebody guide you through the process and just be honest. Right. And so anyway, so I would say that they're clunky versus what we do now is very streamlined. And by the way, I 10x'd this last week. Originally I was going to do group coaching calls. Last week, I transitioned into having live 24/7 access to an expert versus group coaching, which was going to be really good. Dude, this is going to be great. This is going to be, if you did a mind-shifting session one-on-one with a certified expert, it would cost you somewhere between $150 and $200 for one session. I'm giving you unlimited access to a live expert 24/7 for $500 a freaking year. There's nothing like it. There's nobody doing this. There's nothing like it.
You wanted to touch on it, so let's touch on it. The kind of holistic piece of bringing the. Go ahead and talk about the speaking thing.
Yeah,
you started, but go full on down the rabbit hole.
Okay, cool.
Because I think the audience would love to see how it dovetails.
Yeah. So I started out creating one business. And by the way, this is supposed to be a mind and body coaching clinic. So I do have a Facebook group, Coach T. Scott, Elite Mind and Body. And inside of that, we'll incorporate the body stuff into it. Okay. I want to get here first.
Yeah.
And so what I did, JJ, is when you and I first, I know you reached out to me, you're like, hey man, tell me what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to release this next month. This was months ago.
Yeah.
But what I did was I spun off. I'm like, you know what? There's something else here. And so I created T. Scott Elite. By the way, it's sisuvita.com and it's tscottelite.com.
Okay.
The reason I created T. Scott Elite was because I don't want this to just be for entrepreneurs and business owners, et cetera, et cetera. I want it to be for everybody. And I told you earlier, it's hard to get everybody. So what I did was I reverse engineered it. And I said, what if I took this to companies and corporations? I offered them the keynote speech for $15,000. I'll go in, I'll fly into your city for 45 minutes. I'll do a keynote speech. But here's the thing. I'm not there to motivate your people. I'm there to build discipline. So again, it's built for productivity. What we're going to do, AT&T, is we're going to create happier, more positive, more energized employees. And we know statistically, there's a lot of research out there that's published. It's on my website, T. Scott Elite. There's a few of those research studies that are on there. What we're going to do is we're going to create happier, more energized, more positive employees, which is going to result in an increase of 20% productivity among your employees and up to 37% productivity among your sales staff. So now think of it as a mental wellness program for your staff, right? The gym membership for your mind, for your staff. It's a mental wellness program. Would you invest $500 per year? And I'll offer them the same 50% discount. And depending on the amount of employees, maybe more, but I have to be
yeah, you still got to.
Since I 10X'd this last week with my live agents now, my live experts, the cost 10X as well. So I can only discount so much. But hey, I'll give you a discount. You put your people on it. So number one, I do a keynote. Number two, I offer Sisuvita to all your employees. So now I'm reaching all the other people. I reverse engineered it to get those people because I know those people are probably not the ones that are my target market. They're going to sign up right away. And so now I can get those people. I can help the company. First of all, they're investing in their employees, right? They're investing in their mental wellness. Number two, they're getting more productive people. And then the third step of that, so step one is keynote. Step two is putting them on Sisuvita. If they want, they don't have to. I'll just go do the keynote if you want me to.
Kind of a waste, but whatever.
But why? I'm offering the whole package where nobody else is. Number three is I'll do a monthly maintenance for an extra whatever it is that we agreed to per person. I'll do a monthly maintenance call and it'll be on Zoom. And we'll do, we'll do a coaching / motivation / accountability maintenance call specifically for your staff, for your people to make sure, number one, they're using it. Number two, they're using it effectively. Number three, are we getting the results we want? Not just at work, by the way, like at home. Like I want these people to go home and have better relationships. I want them to go to church and have, or whatever their belief is, right? And have that spiritual relationship, if that's something that's important to them. Maybe it's not, that's okay. And number three is I want them, the health and fitness side, right? And so, anyway, so T. Scott Elite is essentially taking Sisuvita, or at least the opportunity for Sisuvita, and it's taking it to companies and corporations. My target on that, my preference is for companies that have at least 100 employees. Doesn't mean I won't work with smaller companies. I may not fly to your city and do a keynote and do all that. I don't know.
Well, there's a law of diminishing return on the CapEx too.
But I want to work with, look, at the end of the day, I can only be in so many places, but I want to work with everybody. And so, I'll work with a company of any size. We just have to sit down and figure out what that looks like. My preference is at least 100 employees. Eventually, I want to be in the Intels, man. I want to be the guy in all of these that is completely transforming these companies and the energy inside of these companies and the productivity. So that's the big goal with T. Scott Elite.
The BHAG.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, on that notion, I know how I love your infectious energy and how you go, but entertain me from a humbled perspective of a year from now. What's this going to look like?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have that gut instinct.
Man, it's funny. I was telling friends when I started breaking this out a few months ago, I was telling people, I said, look, if I don't, and I don't want to talk about it in dollars.
No,
I want to talk about it.
I'm not talking about dollars.
I want to talk about it in terms, and not only because this to me is first and foremost about people. Yes, do I see this as being a mega business? Absolutely. But first and foremost, this for me is about people and making that impact. So I was like, you know what, man, in the next 10 years, I want to have 20,000 members, active members. In 5 years, in the next 5 years, I want to have 20,000 active members. I don't see any reason now. I don't really have a 1-year vision because it's going to take a little bit of a ramp up. I don't see why I can't have 20,000 members at 1 year. 5 years, with my vision and how I want to build this and what I'm doing and the power of it. And remember, like everybody is doing testimonials, right? I mean, when you start seeing testimonials everywhere, dude, I conquered this, I conquered that. My goal for 5 years, and I think it's realistic, is 2 million members. And I didn't start saying that, JJ, until last week when I went away from the group model. And thank God I waited a few months. I mean, I could have always changed it. Yeah. But I'm happy that I got delayed a few months because I started building that second business, T-Scott Elite, because I just 10x this, man. In terms of the product. The group sessions were going to be great. This is going to be freaking amazing.
Interesting.
And so my energy and my aspirations in terms of how many people we can help with this now, along with 10xing the product, I'm more than 10x my expectation for what this looks like. So my goal in 5 years is to have millions of members, active members, because I also don't believe that if people use it, there's absolutely no reason to get rid of it. If you use it, you're getting transformations. Why would you ever get rid of something that's $50 a month that's completely changed your life?
Back to your gym thing, because it's show me someone that signs up for a gym as a New Year's resolution. They're gone in 3 months, right?
Because they don't use it.
Right.
That would be the only reason.
Right.
It would be yes, people will come and go. If you think back to that analogy I gave earlier with the house and the car and the gated community, dude, why would you do that to yourself? You're sabotaging yourself. You're living most people, and some people don't even know it. You're living a life of misery and you don't even realize it. Right. You're writing a chapter. I always like to say you're writing 4 different books, and you're always writing a chapter. So I like to talk in terms of being the hero of your own story. You're writing a story, but I like to say you're writing 4 different stories. You're writing 4 different books. You're writing a personal book with your relationships, your home and business, and relationships though, and friends and family. You're writing a business or work or whatever that is. You're writing a story on that. You're writing one on health and fitness, and if you're into spirituality, you're writing a spirituality book. And so, how long have you been writing the same chapter? Like, are you going to die in chapter 3? Like, you've been writing chapter 3, bro, for 40 years. Are you going to die in chapter 3? Like, it's not the end of the story.
No.
You got more. You know what I mean? And so that's what I want to impress upon people. That's why I'm doing the motivational calls. That's why I'm doing the videos and the social media and all that stuff. Like, let's go. There's more there. Like, there's more power in you. We've got to access it. And the way we access it is this. Nothing else works. It's all out there. Nothing else works like this works. Was that helpful?
Mic drop.
Mic.
Man, I don't know where the time went. In the time that we have left, what didn't we go over that you want to, take like closing shots? Either call to action or even some promotion or whatever.
I said a lot, and there's, me, I could talk for hours and hours and days, really. And so I would say a few things. Number one is the website. So sisuvita.com is, again, I know I built it for productivity, and I think everybody could increase their productivity. I know I said my target market is, certain people. This is for everybody.
Okay.
I really want to reach out and impress upon people, man. If you know somebody going through like depression,
The mental health part.
mental health, reach out. Just reach out to me directly
Yeah.
on that. T Scott Elite, if you're a company or corporation and you want to increase productivity, but also you just want to invest in your employees for mental wellness. And then I would say get on my Facebook group, because we're going to this movement is about more than mindset. It is about body as well. The only thing with body is that everybody's doing it. And so I'm going to do some things that are a little bit unique in terms of things that I promote and things that I talk about. I'll give you an example. And when I say unique, I've been taking Isagenix products for years. I've never made a penny on it. It's a network marketing company.
Right.
I love the products. So I'm going to take some of those types of things and incorporate it into a full wellness program, as opposed to like, hey, I'm an Isagenix agent. Reach out to me and I'll sell you some protein and stuff. Like, no, we're going to take a full approach to that, and we're going to find a really balanced. And it's not just going to be about products, by the way. It's also going to be about gym and all of that stuff. So, but anyway. Sorry, I got down a little bit of a rabbit hole there, but the Facebook group is where the body aspect. I call it Sisuvita Elite Mind and Body.
Oh,
I've talked all about mind to this point. Facebook is where we'll tie body into it and do some different cool stuff. And eventually, I would like to circle back and do some really cool stuff with kids. That's my real passion, is to do some stuff with kids. And some of this doesn't necessarily apply to small kids. I could probably do some of this with high school kids, but most of this, what we've talked about, is really for adults. So at some point, I'd like to circle back and do something with kids. But anyway, that's down the road. But man, I think we covered it.
way to go.
Yeah.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Sisuvita, T Scott Elite. Get on board. Well, I appreciate you coming back on.
Absolutely, man. I'm
Thanks for keeping the energy up too.
I'm happy to be here. I'm always high energy.
Now, if any of you guys know Todd, I'm always busting him about shoulder day.
Thursdays,
Because he's always on his posts. It's always shoulder day.
Thursday is shoulder day, the same way Wednesday is hump day.
Yeah.
Thursdays, I've officially named it shoulder day.
Keep killing it, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
Thank
All right.
you.
You've been listening to the MAC Bleu Show, brought to you by Blue Wave General Contracting. Be sure to subscribe to the MAC Bleu podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Follow JJ Levinsky on LinkedIn and Instagram. Tune in every Monday